This rant consists of copyrighted material owned by Masashi Kishimoto, Viz Media, Shesuia Inc, and Weekly Shonen Jump. The current right owners to the Naruto manga. All characters' names, locales, and events belong to these respective owners. This rant/review is of my property, Mets 2128, and covered under the fair rights usage law. Just because I say the names doesn't mean you kick me off. So, Naruto 581. Not a bad chapter, though granted it was just talking this time around, no action. Or very little action. Excuse me. We pick up where we left off last chapter, and we get some bantering by Kabuto, where he's pretty much calling Itachi out on the fact that he's a dubious liar, or something like that. And saying how he and Itachi are sort of similar, that they gave everything they had to Konoha, and they got ripped, and all they got out of it was shame and dishonor. Look who's calling whose tongue forked. Well, you've heard of the old saying, look who's calling the kettle black. Well, in this case, I say, it's look who's calling whose tongue forked. Kabuto finds it funny that Sasuke would ally himself with Itachi, even if it's just for one moment. We get a little flashback where we're in a tavern and some leafing in are talking about Itachi's death, crossing him off the bingo books, and hearing them and Sasuke hearing how they're treating him like a villain when he really did all that for all he did for the people of the leaf and stuff like that. Apparently we got another Deus Ex. Well, anyway, I'll get to that in the end. Anyway, Kabuto then says that if anything, Kabuto should be more of Sasuke's older brother in a sense than Itachi himself is, or something like that. And Kabuto deduces that Sasuke wants to destroy the leaf just to make his brother suffer, even though it's a dummy of him. It's now just a cadaver of him. And Kabuto's arrogance is going to lead to his downfall soon enough, as he keeps boasting that no one can stop him, his El Tensei is unbeatable, and blah blah blah. Same shit we've got in the past 3 or 4 chapters out of him about it. Well, if that be the case, I say Itachi's got the perfect hard-boiled egg placed in the chicken coop for this snake to swallow. If you don't get what I mean, it's a parable I've heard a couple of times. It's about a snake and a farmer who had a chicken coop, and a snake who would sneak in every night when the farmer was asleep and rob one of the nests. And he'd get in, and steal an egg from one of the nests. And he'd usually get in through a little crack in the wall of the coop that was just wide enough for him to slip in. After swallowing the egg, he would pull and tug with all of his strength, so the egg inside him would crack, and he'd slip out. The farmer would never catch him, and he would do it night after night after night, until one night, in his arrogance, the farmer did manage to spot him, he realized what was going on, so the next day he takes one of his eggs inside, hard-boils it, and then sticks the hard-boiled egg in the nest nearest to the crack of the coop, in the chicken coop. So that night, the snake slithers in, goes to the nest where the hard-boiled egg is, and swallows the egg, laughing to himself how great a thief he is, but when he tries to get out through the crack, something's wrong. By swallowing the hard-boiled egg, his insides feel like they're tied in a knot, and no matter how much hard he pulls, he tries, and no matter how much strength he uses to pull himself through the hole, he can't do it because the egg now has a consistency of rubber and refuses to crack. And so he's stuck in there until next morning. The farmer comes in and kills the snake. That's what I mean by that. Even though Sasuke openly admits that him crushing the leaf is of his own desire, even though Kabuto inherited the will of his master, Orochimaru, even admits that the Itachi before him is just a wooden doll. Hold on. Anyway, Sasuke says that he's nothing like Kabuto. And Kabuto says that he understands why Itachi did it because he's the same as him. Because Kabuto's the same as Itachi. He was adopted by a leaf shinobi, but since no one knew where he came from, they just brought him up as a spy. Eye on the double, he was taught medical ninjutsu so the enemy could trust him. And he traveled many countries as a spy, always pretending to be someone else, always lying, never understanding who he really was anymore. Having no comrades who knew his real identity, and kept on erasing himself. Until finally the leaf decided to throw him out. Or something like that, I don't remember. Minutes. And then it asks, what did Konoha do for us? Sasuke's current resolve was molded by Itachi's actions and existence. Kabuto claims he didn't die, so he was molded like Sasuke, and no one could understand Sasuke as perfectly as Kabuto could. Of course, Itachi tells him not to listen, to shut up, and tells Sasuke not to listen to Kabuto, and I agree with Itachi. I wonder if Itachi's planning on would attempt to use the Reaper Death Seal, but I'm pretty sure he's not as good as, say, the third Jiraiya or the fourth were when it comes to kinjutsu, sealing techniques, into fuinjutsu, or sealing techniques. Anyway, Itachi says that Kabuto lies better than he himself can, and while the village does have its dark side and inconsistencies, Itachi still views himself as one of the leaf. And he admits that Sasuke may be his own fault as to what Sasuke has become, but he's no position to criticize Sasuke's decisions. But now that things turn this way, there's at least one thing I want to say to you. I think that thing to say is, I'm sorry. But then again, 8 years of never knowing the truth, I don't think Sasuke would be that easy to forgive Itachi. I mean, yeah, he shows grief over what he did to Itachi. The fact that he had to kill Itachi, but I don't think he's going to fully forgive him. Anyways, Itachi says he has one last genjutsu up his sleeve that can change the course of the fight, while Kabuto blathering on about how Izao Tensei is unstoppable, no one can kill him, he'll heal super fast, and all this other BS. Just drop a notebook of death in either Sasuke or Itachi's hands, have them write down Kabuto's name, but have him first undo the jutsu, and then we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm just saying. And Itachi explains that Ichi eyes have the power to affect the enemy regardless of their senses, in exchange of losing their own eyesight. Sasuke remembers his fight with Danzo in the Izanagi. Itachi asks how he knows of it. Sasuke explains that Danzo used it when he was fighting him. And Itachi's rather impressed that Sasuke actually survived that. Not often you hear Itachi give kudos to those he knows. But I digress. Anyway, Kabuto doesn't know what's going on. Sasuke asks how is he going to use Izanagi. But Itachi's not using Izanagi. Oh no. He's using the other one that forms this. No, he's going to be using the sister form of Izanagi. Kabuto lunges in at him. And it's already set. Apparently there is an Izana. There is a genjutsu known as Izaname. Nami. Deus Ex Machina? Deus Ex Machina much? While the Izanami can alter the course of events, of reality, apparently Izanami does the opposite, which is basically sets destiny. I think in Itachi's case, it's to permanently destroy Kabuto once and for all, but not before undoing the jutsu, in the Edo Tensei. Can Itachi do it even though he's a corpse? And his Sharingan eyes are now inside Sasuke's head? I don't know. No, to be honest. And we're going to have to find out next week. How it's going to go down? Don't know. But I will complain about one thing. Manga reader, update your thing. Because every time I try to look at the scans on your site, I kept getting that stupid little X at the top left-hand corner so I couldn't see anything. That's it for me. I'm out. God bless. Have a great Easter. Peace. Not necessarily in that order.